they came to the door, knocked on the door, and they said, "Are you on the roll for voting?" And I says, "No, I'm not, because I don't have to vote." And they said, "Yes, you do now. If you don't, you get fined." So they took my name down, so I had to go and vote. I wasn't too impressed, because at that time we were never taught about voting, because being brought up in a girls' orphanage home as a baby, you never was taught about politics or anything like that. And I was thinking, why should I vote? Because I wasn't too keen on it at the time, because all the problems was going on in our lives. And I thought there weren't any sense in voting if I'm going to still be a second-hand citizen. I didn't know what I was voting for at any rate.
Nana, how did you feel about voting for the first time?
Very nervous, and I thought to myself, "Now, what am I doing here voting?" But a lot of them were forced to vote, and I think that's where a lot of them disliked it, and the whites turned away again, they didn't trust them again. I think it is good for that Aboriginal people can vote today. It is different now.
Yeah.
It's the voting thing's more out now,
Yeah.
The schools are learning more about it, and the politics and things like that. They're learning more about it now.
Yeah.
But my day, we didn't know nothing about it. But today, there's no reason why people don't vote, because they know all about it.
Younger Aboriginal women do think about politics more, and we are encouraged more to think about it, and it's a bigger deal in a way, because I'm getting ready to vote when I'm 18, and it is a big deal. I have been thinking about it.
Well, they've got more, I think a lot of it has changed because they've got more health things for the Aboriginal people. They've got more things for the senior citizens. They help them, Aboriginal people, as well as children at school and things like that.
The fact that she went through that and that the Australian government has recognised that it's wrong and they've said sorry is just a big step in history. So without Nana, a lot of things would be different today for Aboriginal people.
Is this your class at the girls' home? Or?
No, Cootamundra.
Oh, yeah.
It's not so racist like in my day. It was very bad.
Yeah,
I think more Aboriginal people are mixing with the white generation, which is good, which I think they should. No matter what race they are, they should learn to mix with all races.
Nana's just really inspirational, because coming from a girls' home and being Aboriginal in a time that was really hard for Aboriginal women, or any Aboriginal, was just really hard. And just hearing about her story today, I've heard it before, but it's just nice to be reminded about what we take for granted.
That's Dad. He was in the army at the time. That's Mum, and that's me, his nursing.
Wow, that's a nice one.
Yeah, that's in 1940. The morgue's gone, and that's when I went to school downtown with the white people. That's me there, and there was my best friend in the home. We're still best friends.
I was a very young woman, and I was expecting my first baby. I was in a place called Kinglake when the Aboriginal people received their right to vote as women. Well, they didn't allow us to vote as people. We were classified as fauna in Australia. As soon as I was eligible to vote, and I've never stopped voting because I think it's vitally important for Aboriginal people to have their voice and to have their opinions taken seriously, and for us to make huge improvements for the next generation.
How did you feel about voting for the first time?
Well, I was thrilled. I thought it was a great opportunity, and I knew the old people had fought very hard for many, many years to improve things for Aboriginal people, and at last our opportunity had come to be heard and valued as people.
How important do you think it is for Aboriginal women to vote?
I think it's vitally important to be heard, to have your opinion taken seriously. So if you want to make an improvement to your community, you must be upstanding and go forward and be heard. Sometimes we couldn't read the instructions that they had on the thing because we didn't know who we were voting for, but they've made it a lot easier now. I just knew that there was huge changes about to take place, the opportunities, the doors were opening, and the thing was everybody had to go through it together to make it work and take that chance.
Has getting to vote improved things for your community and across the country for Aboriginal people?
A huge improvement. Just look at Rumballara, for instance. We're one of the best medical services in Victoria. It's a role model to all Australia. I think young people know where they're going now. They're much more in tune with everything, because years ago we were all with our old people and everything, and it's wonderful now to see them standing up, being educated and having their opinion taken seriously.
Well, I learnt that we're pretty privileged these days. Back in the day they weren't really allowed to vote until the 60s. That's a long time. And we've got a voice and we can have our opinion as well.
When were you first able to vote after 1962? Did you ever consider it?
Well, when I was younger, like with the voting, I really didn't take much notice of the voting, because Aboriginal people at the time weren't compelled. You know, I thought it was a bit useless to even get in there, go on the roll and vote. And I said to myself, well, for what? Because for the simple reason was that we weren't allowed to do or say anything anyway. So I thought, if you can't pass your opinion and you can't get what you aim for, then what was the use of voting in a white man's law? I'm not too sure the year, but I know it's only just a few years since I've got on the roll, because now I'd like to have my say at different times. So I think if you need to have that and people start taking notice of you, regardless of who you are, then I thought, well, it's time I got on it.
How did you feel about voting for the first time?
Lost, because I didn't know how to, and I think when I went in I had to really stand beside my husband, your grandfather, to really show me how to vote.
How important do you think it is for Aboriginal women to vote?
I don't know, I always tend to think it's a man's world more than a woman's, but it's good to have an opinion to get up there for them to take notice of. Sometimes I think sometimes women make a little bit more sense than men at different times. It was so racist at the time. There was a lot of undercurrent with people towards whites and blacks, and I never really sort of got involved like I should have, I suppose, but I really didn't want to at the time. I don't know whether a lot of it's changed such a lot. The big change will come, if I ever live to see it, is when you know you can go out, mix with people in the community, go to anywhere you like, with whether they're black, white or brindle, and you stand beside another and don't only look at the colour of your skin. If you're going to have your say and talk, well, I think you've got to be on the roll where it gives you the right to go up and stand and say what you want to say. With raising my children, my grandchildren, I've tried to pass them to my beliefs to them, to make sure that they stick together as a family in the community, to help one another, never lose that love they've got for one another.